Hello and welcome to this week's Q&A. Now, last night I did a workshop and it was so good and so insightful, if I say so myself. But what I mean by really good is just getting that interaction from everybody and hearing the feedback and how much it was helping. So the workshop was called How to Lose Weight If You Are Stuck in a Rut. Team, I have put it in the members area, the top of coaching. If you were listening to this on the podcast and you are not a squaddy, then please message me because I can send it to you. And we really got deep in on the mindset side of things. So definitely, if you do feel like you're in a place where you're stuck, even if you're not losing weight, but you just feel really stuck with your fitness right now or your nutrition right now, it could be a really useful thing to listen to. So make sure you listen to that, gang. And oh my gosh, last few days now to get tickets for the 5-year party. Now, it is my dream to get every single squaddy to the 5-year party. I know that's not realistic, but it would really mean a lot to me. And if you're feeling a little bit nervous because you're thinking that maybe you don't know everybody and it is nerve-wracking, but you'd be in the majority. This is a great opportunity to meet one another and put faces to names and just have a really good time. And hey, if you feel like you're feeling nervous, think about how I feel right now. So please get yourself booked on. Me and Will have massively subsidized it the best we can. So do come along. It's going to be a fantastic night, really nice meal, and then a bit of a party as well. And we've got some fun awards that we're going to do. So lots of fun and pretty casual, pretty chill. So make sure you get yourself booked on, team. This is the last week because I have to start allocating tables. Like we haven't actually got that long. I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I got to do now? Oh. Anyway, let's dive into the Q&A. We have, as always, some brilliant questions, all from things like what fabric softener to use when you're washing your sports bras to how much weight we should be putting on bars and what constitutes as a weight workout, to getting cramp in your feet in Pilates, and to running for fat loss. So we have all sorts. And what constitutes as a rest day? Oh my goodness, like these questions are golden. Are you ready? I'm going to start from the top about how many times you should run each week to increase fat loss. So here is the question. I've started to run and I'm wondering what's a good amount of time to run per week to increase fat loss? I do feel like I'm changing my shape, but no change on the scales yet. So for reference, I'm running 2 to 3 times a week currently for 30-40 minutes. Thank you. Well, that's a brilliant amount to start off with, and also a great amount of cardio to do each week. For fat loss in particular, it really comes down to whether you're in a calorie deficit or not and how big that calorie deficit is. So a calorie is a unit of energy, and it's the amount of energy that comes off food when you burn it, essentially, just in simple terms. And that's all it is. So we want to be in a calorie deficit. So calories out are greater than calories in. Rather than trying to manipulate this through our workouts and types of workouts we do, which can help to an extent, we need to actually do this through our food. So you need to be adjusting portion sizes, focusing on protein so that your body can fully repair from your runs, and also focusing on protein for satiety, so keeping fuller for longer, for like I said already, muscle repair, and for keeping that muscular tone. So getting that nice lean look as you lose weight, that is really important. Now, 2 to 3 times a week running is great. I would I would argue that that is probably enough. It depends on what you're doing the rest of the time. Like, I would be coupling that with doing strength workouts to support your running, but then also to help maintain this lean muscle mass. And that will actually help with your fat loss journey because you are maintaining lean muscle mass, and the amount of lean muscle mass you have is linked to your metabolism. So the more lean muscle mass you have, the higher your metabolism. It's not as big as people think, but it is true. And also, you will, like I said, maintain that lean muscle mass so you get that lean look. So I would say if you're already running 2 to 3 times a week, one thing you could do is on one of them, you could put in like some intervals if you wanted to. So a little bit more like high intensity interval training. And that can be really effective. Or what you could do is this is what you should be doing anyway, is making sure that you are doing strength workouts. So if you're doing 2 to 3 runs a week, great, perfect. Maybe one of them do some intervals. It could even be a shorter run, like a 20-minute run where you really do like push for a minute, pull back, then go again. Or you could have your markers in the road, like between street lamps or something. and making sure you're doing strength training at least twice a week. The rest of it is going to come in building that calorie deficit, but manipulating it carefully and slowly so that you're not losing muscle mass as well. We want to maintain the muscle mass. We want to improve our muscle to fat ratio in our body, improve our body composition. So we just need to do this like adjust accordingly. But that would be my best advice for running and fat loss. And also remember that we run to improve our health, improve our lung health and our heart health and our overall quality of life, as opposed to trying to run to lose weight. What happens when we do that is we end up being a hamster on a wheel and kind of spinning our wheels and not really getting anywhere. And one thing that does happen if you massively focus on cardio and you ramp up the cardio, it ramps up your hunger levels a lot. And quite often we end up then overcompensating. So overcompensating with our food because our hunger levels are ramped up. Our ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, shoots through the roof. And we want to eat more and replenish. And quite often we think, oh, I've been on a run, so that's okay. We've all been there, right? We've all been there. And then we end up kind of, if you are trying to do fat loss, sort of undoing it to an extent. So just bear that in mind as well. Bear your hunger levels in mind. But anyway, massive well done. Running 2, 3 times a week, 30, 40 minutes. That's great. Now let's make sure that we're supporting that. Minimum 2 strength workouts a week. And I would definitely, if you are running, please make sure you're doing some Pilates and or yogascape, or ideally both of them, just to really look after your body. And again, to support that. When you get up in the morning, how long should you wait before exercising? And should you have your breakfast before or after? Oh my goodness, it really depends on the person. Some people will roll out of bed in their pajamas, turn the workout on, and off they go. So it really depends. Like I could do that. Generally, I give myself about 40 minutes. So I have a little bit of something before I work out in the morning. I have a bit of a protein hit, so I'll get up, I have a coffee and a glass of water and I have a bit of protein. And then I go and teach and then I have breakfast after. So I kind of have like two. It's like something small before I start and then I will have my porridge like afterwards. That's how I personally do it, and I prefer to do it like that because I feel like I've got some fuel in the tank. And in my mind, it's helping with protein synthesis, and I'm getting in some getting in some protein because your body can only absorb so much protein at a time. So I think, oh, okay, like I've hit a little window there. But that's just me, and that's what I like to do. Um, and it just depends. Some people really feel like they need some fuel in their body before they get going, and a lot of women who train fasted can quite often struggle with results in the longer run because when we fasted, so when we've gone to bed and we have breakfast, we break the fast. So when we've gone to bed and we wake up fasted, our body can be in a state of a little bit of stress because overnight it's been repairing. It's been doing a lot of work repairing our muscles and a lot of internal work, including repairing the brain in our REM sleep. So it's been hard at work while we've been asleep. So it might be in a bit of a state of stress, or you feel like fully replenished, but it needs stress is probably the wrong word. Stress is probably the wrong way to describe it. Basically, it's been hard at work, and quite often it needs replenishing in the morning. And for some ladies, not everybody, but for some ladies, by then training fasted, their body is sent into a bit of a state of stress because they don't really have much to pull on. They don't really have any resources to pull on. And what can happen is the brain, so the hypothalamus in the brain, can turn off certain things. It's like a thermostat. So it might turn off, say, for example, reproductive hormones because it doesn't see them as necessary right now, because what we need to do is preserve our energy because we are in a state where we are running away from a bear. Obviously, you're not, but we're in a state where we're using energy and it doesn't know when it's going to get that energy back. So, okay, what can we turn off here? What can we compensate for here? Your cortisol levels might be higher too. So, we just have to think about our bodies and how they respond. And also, what kind of workout are you going to be doing? Are you going to be doing endurance? Are you going to be doing HIIT? Or are you going to be doing some yoga, for example? So, depending on what workout you're going to be doing, depends on whether you might need to fuel yourself and by how much you will need to do that. And it also depends on you as a person, how sensitive your body is to stress, and stress being exercise as well. It is a good stress. It's a good stress most of the time, unless we've been over exercising, but it is a good stress. And so it just depends on how your body responds. And I think that will really take a little bit of experimentation. I personally have found that my body does not respond that great to fasting. Like I can do it, but I don't feel great. And it's probably quite a lot of psychological placebo effect as well. That if I feel like I eat something, I feel like I internally have energy and I'm just going to go for it. But that works for me. It's psychological to a point. Having said that, I would never go on a 7 mile run without having something to eat. So it just depends on what I'm going to be doing. But this is how I do it personally. I give myself about 40 minutes. I have like a little hit of protein, have coffee, some water, and then off I go and have a proper breakfast afterwards. But some people just like to get up and go. It depends on you. See how you respond, see how you feel. Try both. Or you might just want to have like a banana or half a banana before you start your workout, like 30 minutes before, for example. Or you might think, actually, I just need a proper bowl of porridge, like an hour and a half before, whatever it is for you. And just see how you get on. I started getting cramp in my feet during Pilates when the top of my foot is flat on the ground. Strangely enough, it doesn't happen in any other classes. Could it be poor form? And if so, how can I correct it? Potentially. Potentially. It could be quite a few things here. It can be dehydration. So, when are you doing your Pilates classes? Are you making sure that you're drinking enough? I mean, I presume that you are because you said it is literally just in Pilates when this happens. It can be if we've got fatigue, like in the legs or the calves, and then we're trying to point our toes as well. It can be that. Or it could be if you are trying to put a lot of strain through your toes. So if you're like scrunching your toes or pointing your toes, it can happen. So what you want to think in Pilates is rather than the action coming from the toes, like scrunching or pointing your toes, think of the action coming from the ankle. So point the ankle down instead. That might really help. So try that. And also feel free to relax the feet. Quite often in Pilates, it does happen if we are feeling fatigued or if we are trying to like concentrate on so many things at a time and our feet are in these kind of non-natural positions. It can happen. Also, it can be things like potassium. So if your body needs a bit of potassium or magnesium, so what you can do is you can have a banana. You can have a banana beforehand. But it kind of sounds to me like because it's only Pilates where this is happening, maybe we're just putting a little bit too much pressure and strain and grip through our feet. So maybe just try relaxing the feet or pointing from the ankles as opposed to like pointing from the toes or scrunching the toes. Give that a go. Let me know how you get on. I want good tips on moving the belly, please. What can I do more of there? Oh, goodness me. If I had something that would just be like, remove the belly from there, I would be a squillionaire. This is what you want to do, though. That's not to say that it can't be done. Of course, it can be done. But we can't fat spot reduce. So we can't choose an area on our body where we want to lose weight. Like, right, okay, I want to lose weight from my thighs. Like, yes, but it is most likely, potentially, if that's like a bit of a bugbear in your body, going to come off other areas first because genetically pre-programmed in your body that that's where your body prefers to store and hold fat. Now, if you are a peri or postmenopausal woman, so you're either going through the menopausal chapter, if you like, or you've gone to the other side. You come out the other side and you're a postmenopausal lady. Our body prefers to store fat around our tummy. So we go from being a pear shape into an apple shape due to a decline in estrogen. So our body prefers to store fat around our tummy. That doesn't mean that we can't do anything about it again. So these are the things that you want to be doing. Number one, you want to be in a calorie deficit. So calories out greater than calories in. You don't have to count calories to do this. What you can do is take what you normally have in a normal day. Make sure you've got some consistency in your diet, of course, and just manipulate your portion sizes. So drop the portion sizes and what you're having by like 20%. Monitor it for 2 to 3 weeks and then do it again. But you do need some consistency. And please listen to the workshop that I did yesterday for this. So how to lose weight when you're stuck in a rut, because I talk all about this. Of course, we can't just say, yeah, I'll drop my portion sizes, but then have no consistency in the diet because we don't actually know where we are. But that's what you want to do. You want to be in a calorie deficit. You want to be prioritizing protein, maintaining as much lean muscle mass as possible for all the reasons I explained earlier, and doing strength training 2 to 3 times a week as a minimum. There's also a max because your body does need to recover, but let's focus on 2 to 3 times a week, making sure that you are allowing recovery time, and also really managing our emotional responses to food. So quite often, if it is a hormonal thing, if it's a hormonal thing and we feel like the weight is increasing around our tummy, it can be due to the fact that we've lost some lean muscle mass, our metabolism is a little bit slower, our digestion is a little bit slower. So if we have a decline in estrogen, then we actually find that our food can move through the digestive tract in a bit of a different way. It can actually be a little bit sluggish. So our digestion might not be as great as it used to be. So that might mean taking more time over our meals, chewing more, eating more mindfully, eating slower, just really, really taking our time, and also monitoring what foods our body maybe isn't tolerating very well anymore. Making sure we're eating enough fiber, making sure we're having enough water. But basically, make sure you prioritize protein and you are strength training. These are the first things you want to do. Managing our emotional responses to food, making sure that we are making time for food, we're nourishing our body properly, and also getting enough sleep. Getting enough sleep here. Because when we don't have enough sleep, we can quite often crave sugary things. We can quite often crave sugary things and want them because we are fatigued, and that is what our body's asking for. It wants some quick and fast energy. So, are you fueling yourself properly? Are your meals balanced? And have you started to adjust your portion sizes? So, these are all little things and little things you need to check off. You can have a diary and be tracking how your body is responding to food. You could even write a food diary and what you're having and say, put in your rough portion size or put in your portion sizes and then manipulate them from there. Then also, you can be doing things like Pilates, so improving your core strength. I'm not saying that that is the answer, like the answer is overall fat loss and it will come off the belly. What stage that comes in, whether it's, the first place or the last place, don't know, but it will come off. So you want to be on a fat loss journey and also making sure that you're strengthening the muscles in that area for the toned look. And also Pilates is just really, really good. It's good for your back. It is good for your mobility. It's great for your core strength. So doing those things, making sure you're having enough water as well. So you find that your digestion is sluggish. You want to be having enough fiber, but you also want to be having enough water. So do make sure that you are doing that. And all of these things, including managing your stress, will really, really help. When we feel stressed and we're in a state of fight or flight, it's like the whole not having enough sleep thing. You will want to reach for things that are highly palatable and potentially higher in calories as well, because it's what our body feels like it really needs right now. Feels like it's in a state of stress, doesn't quite understand why, and it's an emotional response to go and grab some food because it's kind of like what our body's telling us to do in that moment. So, what is it for you? Work it out, and let's start tracking. Let's start writing things down. It could just be like literally having a pad and a pen and writing each day in a little diary what you're eating and how you felt and what was your sleep like. Focusing on the core four. What are the best exercises for standing up quickly? Okay, so the best exercise you can do for standing up. So if we want to be improving like the speed that we get up, things like squats, and lunges and step up. So if you've got a step at home, stepping up, stepping down, they're really, really good because they actually mimic standing up. You could also do some explosive things. So lowering down into a squat slowly or a lunge slowly, and then come back up quick, squeezing the thighs, squeezing the glutes. Or you could even do some plyometrics, and that's where you jump it. And that would improve power and it would improve speeds. So doing all things like that. So things like our booty band and stronger would be really good for improving that. And also Pilates, because there is a lot of core strength involved and stability when we're standing up. We want to stand up quickly. So all of those things. And in fact, sculpt would be a really good one as well. So sculpt, there's always things like inchworms and walk out. So we're getting up, we're getting down. And the more you practice it, the better you will get at it. So making a little bit of a plan where you're like, right, okay, I'm going to make sure in my weekly plan, I've got a stronger, I've got a booty band, and I've got a sculpt, and I've got a Pilates. Right, let's go. And just sticking to that, monitoring it and seeing how you get on. A great question. I love that. Love that question. Okay, I'm doing live. I'm doing every live and dog walks, but should I be combining this with other forms of exercise too? For example, running. If you were doing every live and you were doing dog walks, You don't need to combine it with other forms of exercise. You can if you want to, but you don't. Because what I do with our workouts is whether you follow the 6 a.m.s or you follow the 6:30s, or you do both of them, so you do 6:30 or later on the day, I will make sure that you are covered. You are covered from a cardio standpoint, from both more higher intensity things and lower intensity things. I make sure that you are covered for strength. And I also make sure you are covered on your mobility and flexibility. So if you follow the live timetable and you're doing dog walks for your general activity level on your steps, you are absolutely sorted. You are covered. Having said that, if you do enjoy other forms of workout and you want to do other forms of working out, for example, running, you absolutely can, and use the classes to support that. So all runners need to be doing things like stronger, booty band, Pilates, and yoga scape or yoga. And then ideally, some form of like HIIT training as well to improve running. Obviously, it's hard to get all of that in, but I would prioritize the strength training and I would prioritize doing the Pilates if I had to pick two things to go alongside the running. But ideally, you'd have like a bit of a combination of all those things. But basically, to cut a long story short, no, you're absolutely fine. Keep doing what you're doing. I've totally got you covered. Random question. How do you decide if something is strength training or cardio? So due to the high reps, some would argue that body pump is cardio, for example. I don't do body pump. Circuit training or total conditioning could fall into either strength or cardio in my head. Okay, so would it require you to use more than body weight, for example, for it to come under strength? So the way that you want to think of this, it's like a sliding scale. So you've got your like pure cardio, one end. I'm trying to think of an example of pure cardio, like aerobics. And then you've got your pure strength at the other end, kind of like your bodybuilding style, really heavy weight, really low reps. And it's like a sliding scale. Things like body pump are stronger, which is basically like body pump. It's our version of body pump at the squad. They are strength training. Absolutely. It is muscular endurance. You're not going to get gains. You're not going to get gains, bro gains from doing stronger. But what you will do is you will build muscle and you will work your overall body tone if you like, or body condition. You will improve your lean muscle mass if you do stronger. Having said that, if you do stronger and you're lifting like 1 kilogram weights and you're not feeling it, of course, well, like, bit of common sense in here as well. If you are challenging yourself with the weight that you are using a barbell and stronger, yes, you will absolutely improve your muscular endurance and you will improve your body composition and you will get stronger. And yes, it is a strength workout. You could even argue things like Pilates, so using your own body weight to an extent, is strength based as well. I put it more under holistic because it's that mind body connection. It's also fantastic for core. So there's loads of elements of strength within Pilates. And then you could argue things like sculpt. Well, what about when we're doing squats and push ups? Is that some strength? Yes, but generally speaking, it is more of a cardio workout. So you've got to think, okay, it's all on this sliding scale. So at the squad, we've got our strength workouts, our booty band. Generally, I class it anything using like resistance. But having said that, if we were to do half an hour of push-ups, I would absolutely be putting that in a strength workout. Do you see what I mean? So you really can improve your strength using your own body weight. You absolutely can, and that would class as strength, but it's all contextually based. Stronger is a strength workout. Booty band's a strength workout. Our slow and controlled intervals are strength workout, for example. But it's a really good question. And there is quite often a crossover. And sometimes they're like the best workouts, when you're doing a bit of both, like circuit training, for example. Quite often that will involve some like a station of weights, and then you'll move on to another station where it's more cardio based. Yeah, absolutely. So yes, I hope that answers the question. But yeah, to cut a long story short, yes, it's strength training. What's the best way to remind yourself to stay on protein mostly? Okay, so the squaddy who asked this question is quite new to kind of basing things like around protein and prioritizing protein, something that she's not really thought about before. And that's really great. It's really great. I love it. I love it when everyone joins the squad and kind of have to be more mindful about what they're putting into their body. It's really good because it shows that you're thinking about what you're putting into your body to fuel and nourish your body in the best way. So the best way to remember is take it meal by meal. Look at your breakfast. Where's the protein source? If it's like a bowl of cereal with a bit of milk, you could argue that there's some protein in milk, depending on what milk you're using, okay? But I would be like, okay, I got some cornflakes with some milk. This isn't ideal. I mean, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, don't get me wrong. But I mean, where is the protein source? How can I tweak this so it has more protein in? Do you know what? I'm going to have some Greek yogurt and cereal. You could do that. Or you could be like, I'm going to alternate it with one day I'm going to have eggs and the next day I'm going to have this. Whatever you want to do. Or protein porridge, whatever it is. Then you move to lunch. Okay, where's my protein source? Start with the protein source, build around it. Where's my dinner? Start with the protein source, build around it. That is the best way to do it. And generally speaking, if you do that and you build each meal around a protein source, you're not going to be far off your protein target. So I always say, take your body weight in kilos, times it by round about 1.5 to 2, and that is the amount of protein that you want to be hitting each day. You want to split that up over the day. But you might just start with, okay, I'm just literally, Lord, I'm just going to start with my meals. I'm going to have that protein yogurt. I know that that is going to, or Greek yogurt, whatever. Um, yeah, I would say like whole foods first and foremost, everybody. So I would, that might be, okay, I've got 20 grams there. Great. Right. Okay. What am I going to have for lunch? I'm going to have a chicken sandwich, for example. Okay. There is 25 grams in this chicken sandwich. Cool. Okay. Great. So overall, I'm about 50 grams of protein today. What about dinner? Oh, I'm going to have a piece of salmon that is 30 grams, for example. Okay, that's 80 grams in a day. Cool. Right, what do I need? I need about, oh, okay, maybe I'm a little bit low. So maybe then next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a protein snack in. So what do I enjoy that's high in protein? Right, let's have a little look at the nutrition area. That's how I would do it and tweak things from there. I really hope that helps. What constitutes as a rest day? If you're doing at least one workout every other day and you're walking at least 7K steps, what does a rest day mean? I I would still a gentle stretch as example. Oh, I think that means I would still do a gentle stretch as an example and aim to hit my 7K plus steps. Right, so yes, absolutely. A rest day doesn't necessarily mean sitting down with your legs up in the air and a bowl of popcorn. Ideally, to support your body to recover, you want to be doing some sort of mobility. So, yes, that's a fantastic example where you are doing your steps and you are stretching out. So, I would say the perfect thing you could do on a rest day is get yourself on some real gentle yoga, a gentle yoga or a gentle Pilates or a stretch, or going on a nice, easy walk. I'm not saying go on a 2 hour hike. Okay, there's a difference. Something that is going to promote some blood flow around your body, something that is going to help your muscles recover. That is what I would say. So, yeah, perfect. Doing a nice gentle stretch and hitting your steps is fantastic to do on a rest day. Brilliant. Also, make sure you're having enough protein, water, and getting a good night's sleep. That will support your body and rest. I have hand weights, but what are the advantages of also having a barbell and or a kettlebell? So, hand weights are really, really good for, say, doing single arm movements, and they can be really good for things like, well, generally like control to an extent. But barbells let you lift heavier in a safer way. So they're really good at improving strength. One thing you have to be really careful of, so just like you to imagine this, if you are lifting two weights above your head, up and down, quite often we have one side that is stronger than the other. So quite often those weights are not going to move at the same power, at the same height, and they might cause a bit of asymmetry in the body. Not always a bad thing, but the heavier we go, it could potentially end up being, if we're not holding ourselves properly, maybe if we're a bit fatigued, potentially a little bit on the dangerous side, as opposed to using a barbell where our hands are moving at the same time, we have more control. Do you see what I mean here? So that is why a barbell is really good. So of course, if you can go heavier in a safer way, then also you can get better results. Kettlebells, they add a bit more of a dynamic element for different kinds of moves. So they're really good for doing things like swings, great for core engagement, they're good for power. But having said that, depending on what kind of hand weight you've got, you could use that as if it were a kettlebell as well. And quite often I take a plate off my barbell and I use that as if it were a kettlebell. But kettlebells, if you're doing kettlebell workout, obviously designed for that, they're easier to hold. But if you were to get anything else, so if you've only got dumbbells, if you were to get anything else, I would massively, massively recommend getting a barbell because then you can lift heavier, you can do it in a safer way, and like I said, then you'll be getting better results as well, which is what you want. I feel a pressure to make the most of the course and exercise on more than 3 days a week, which on one hand is good, but on the other hand, I find it really hard to keep up with. Not physically, but with so many competing demands, it doesn't always feel like the best choice to prioritize exercise when time is so limited. I know what's important, but so is keeping on top of my work, spend time with my family, etc. Okay, so um, just for a little bit of context, I was speaking to this lovely squaddy, and I first thought it was kind of like I took it as not feeling bad for spending time on you. So like feeling a bit of mum guilt because you feel like if you are spending that time on you, then there's so many other things that have to forego. It's an opportunity cost, isn't it? Always. Every choice you make has an opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost of you spending 20 minutes working out on you is the fact that maybe you're not the person to get the kids up, or the kids have to get up later, or then the washing hasn't been done, or the dishwasher hasn't been unloaded, or lunch boxes haven't been prepped at that time. That is the opportunity cost of you spending time on you. And then what I said is, the thing is, if we can't spend 20 minutes on ourselves like a day to fill up our cups, then what can we do? And I can't remember who said this the other day in the squad, but I can't remember, but along the similar lines, like if you can't spend 20 minutes on yourself, like this isn't the life that I signed up for. So it's really important to make sure that you're filling up your cup. And when you do that, you actually show up as a better mum, a better colleague, a better partner. You're sharper, you're more energized, and it's actually a really good example to set because your kids will see that and they will see you prioritizing fitness. So then they will go and do that for themselves. And also they'll understand that it's really important to do and mum needs her time. But after having spoken to this squad, it wasn't quite along those lines. It was along different lines because there's shift work to think about here and juggling toddlers and lots of different things. And it was a case of consistency. So a case of not being able to do certain workouts at certain times. So what I said, and this is definitely why I think what we do is just amazing, is do what you can and keep it flexible. 3 workouts a week is brilliant. And it's okay if it looks a little bit messy. Like it is okay if a workout is 10 minutes and it's not 20 minutes or half an hour or 40 minutes or an hour. 10 minutes is great. The amount of benefit you get from doing 10 minutes of a workout as opposed to not bothering is exponential in so many ways. So little and often is fine. And also it's fine to be flexible. Like each week can look completely and utterly different. Some weeks it might all happen at the weekend. Some weeks it might be early in the morning and we've got to get up for this one week because it's the only way that we can fit it in. Some weeks it might be when the kids have gone to bed, or it might just be at different hours every day. That's okay. That's fine. And we can plan for flexibility. But what is important is that you are showing up for you and you are looking after your health and well-being, because what we have to remember is, and it's not just about showing up for everyone else, it's about you. If you want to live a good quality life and a healthy life, you got to exercise. So we got to fit it in. And it's about what's important to you. If it's important to spend quality time with your family in the future, you must invest in yourself now. So we have to make it work, and it is okay to look messy, and it is okay to be completely and utterly flexible with it as well. And I would just say, if you're focusing on your 3 a week, that's fantastic, great. What about doing like one of each thing? So a holistic, a cardio, and a strength. Perfect. And then when you've done those, if you've got time for any more, then great, brilliant, do it. But if not, then you've done your 3. Great, big tick in the box. That's amazing. And be proud of you for that. Final question. Should I be avoiding fabric softener when washing my gym gear? I've invested in a few nice pieces as well as a new sports bra. I want them to last as previous sports bras disintegrated quite quickly and they aren't cheap. Yeah, you're right. How can I best wash them as hand washing is impractical? So, what I did is I messaged my lovely friend, Amanda from Wild Legs Leggings, because she is the expert. And she said, I'm reading out. Definitely no fabric softeners. 30-degree machine wash with a sports bra if you want to get rid of bacteria that cause any smells. I use Tesco standard non-bio on 30 or even 40 sometimes. Make sure you wash it inside out and dry. I think she put dry on the radiator or the line, not tumble dry. So I hope that answers the question. And I think basically what it is, if you use fabric softener, it can break down the fibers. So it can, yeah, basically make them pretty much disintegrate and it affects the moisture wicking properties. I learned that today. And I must admit that I have been using fabric softener and I will not be doing that anymore. It also can ruin the elasticity of them as well. And also, I don't do mine inside out. I am so bad. I'm so bad with washing. Um, I know you shouldn't negatively self-talk, but when it comes to washing, I have to. No, actually, one thing that I have done, I went on Temu and I bought this. I bought this laundry bag thing, and it's split into three, so it's like dark colored and lights. Because up until this point, I'm not proud to say it, but up until this point, I have just been banging it all in and hoping for the best. And it's not always worked in my favor. And yes, I've been putting fabric softener in as well. So maybe what I will do now is, to be fair, all my gym clothes are coloured. So I think I might just put it all in there. Put it in the coloured area and there will be no softener on the coloured stuff. Anyway, gang, that's all from me. I really hope you enjoyed the Q&A today. We had some really good questions and I hope that's given you lots of food for thought and lots of things to be working on or thinking about moving forwards. Anyway, I hope the 28-20 is going well. Keep on posting in the group because you've got to support each other, lift each other up, be commenting on everyone's posts. Team, I love seeing your selfies. Keep putting them in the group. And also, if you want to come to the 5-year party, please book yourself on. It's going to be so good. It's going to be so, so good. And invite whoever you want, your family, friends, everyone's invited. Anyway, that's all from me. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow morning, gang, bright and early. Oh, and if you have any friends who want to come and join us, the best family ever, do let us know. Or if you're listening to this and you are not a squaddy, if you're listening to this on the podcast, come and join us. Just head to the website, click get started, and that goes straight to the lovely Laura, who will see how we can help if we can. And if we can't, we'll point you in the right direction of someone who can. I know a lot of people in the fitness industry who are amazing. Anyway, team, see you later. Have a great day and be good. Be good. What was that?